Nigeria, Africa's biggest economy, has failed to make a dent in its wheat imports as its production of the grain remains low despite efforts to ramp it up. From 2015 to 2022, the administration of President Buhari budgeted about 12.9 billion naira for training, promotion, and development of the wheat value chain, according to budget allocation data from the Budget Office of the Federation. Let's take a look at some wheat metrics. Showing that data from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development said about 420,000 metric tons of wheat were produced in 2020, grossly inadequate to meet growing demand. NEMA, which is an international research firm, noted that Nigeria imported 6.5 million metric tons of wheat in 2020. And of course, the production and import gap for wheat is having an impact on the prices of food. You see food inflation in March year on year, 24.45%, month on month, 2.07%. Bread, one of those factors that increase. And joining us to talk about that is the president of the Premium Breadmakers Association of Nigeria, engineer Emmanuel Onuorah. You're very welcome, sir. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Rotis, and good morning, viewers.
Good to have you. We got some data from you on the costs of I think flour is one of the highest cost metrics that go into producing bread. Can you talk to us about the challenges you're facing? Let's jump right into it.
Well, the challenges are enormous.
Yeah.
Basically the challenge is that your cost and your revenue does not match. When your cost outstrips your revenue, you are in a deficit and you are in a problem. And that kind of business is not sustainable, because at the end of the day, what you succeed in doing is trying to get money from outside to be able to recapitalize the business, unknowing to you that you are recapitalizing. So it's a dire strait. I just saw your slides on the wheat. It's a big one. It's not only wheat. You talk about wheat, you talk about sugar. In the last 1 month, sugar has increased. The price of sugar has increased by about 3,000 naira.
Wow.
Yeah, something we're buying in January, we're buying about 30,000. As I speak with you today, it's going for 35,000 naira with the threat of even increasing further.
Yeah.
And that's the second highest component in our ingredients of making bread. Number one, the wheat, and I sent you an Excel spreadsheet of
flour,
generic.
was the top one.
Yeah. Flour gives you about 65%. But in that template I sent you, flour was about 53-54. It's just a generic.
Yeah.
People work with it to suit their particular ingredients they use for their baking. So it's a very tough one for us as businesses, because our costs outstrip our revenue. Now you look at the average sizes of bread. You have the bread from 150 to 1,200 naira. For those of them that are in my association, there are other associations, because we are premium. Why are we premium? We are premium because we work with mechanized equipment, and we obey extant rules of NAFDAC, SON, and all of it.
Is that equipment made here?
No, they are not.
It's imported?
You get them, yes, it's imported. Majorly from Turkey, from China, from Taiwan, and all of it.
Yeah.
Yes, the locals are trying to do something, but they are not getting the necessary and requisite support that will make them go big. It's just at peasant level. You see them trying to improvise, and it's not helping our businesses at all. Because if these things are domiciled in country, it helps us, because that money with which you are using to that FX you are going to change to, you run to the parallel market to get it and all that. It doesn't add up at all. It makes the whole thing very, very tough for bakers. So
where do we start with the solution? Is it FX allocation to bring these machines, or to be able to make the machines here, or more supply of flour, or more growing more wheat in the country so you have more flour to make the bread? Where do we start with the solutions? We are in a dire strait. It cuts across all spheres. You start from the wheat, Like I told you, January this year, wheat was going for about 30,000 naira, and it makes up about 60% of our inputs. Yeah.
Today it is 33. You don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow. So it doesn't even give us premium bread makers the ability to be able to plan long term for anything. Before you're planning, the whole thing is distorted. Now you talk about sugar. Sugar has just added about 5,000 naira. Maybe at the beginning of January, you are projecting that, look, I am going to do so. But this whole thing has upended and upturned your entire cost template. You talk about the softener. It was going for about 300,000 naira. Today it's going for about 650.
Wow.
That's more than 100%. You talk about your ascorbic acid, your preservative and all that. That one was going for 39,000. Today is about 45,000, and it goes on and on and on. Look, we use egg. Some of us use egg in our mix.
Yeah.
You understand? People that are using egg, some of my members that are using egg. In January, egg was going for about 2,000. Today, it increased a bit 2 months ago to about 2,000. Today is 2,500 to 3,000, depending on what you are doing. Because it's this whole thing, it just goes around every businesses in Nigeria, because we are all tied to each other. So it's very, very tough being a baker. Like, for instance, in my factory, I used to have about 180 workers. Today, and we're doing 2 shifts. You know, today we have about 50.
50 workers?
Yes. I've laid
from
off
180 to 50.
That's how it is in the industry. I've laid off about 100, and you can see
wow.
Yeah. So the job losses, you are not, as an employer, you don't want to do that, but you are forced to do it, because at the end of the day, you must pay. A laborer is deserving of his wages. It does for me. So many has shut down. Before, 4 years ago, when we started this association, we had about 36,000 members. Today, it's less than 10,000 across Nigeria. And what are you having? It's a series of continuous job losses across the line. Because one, your revenue cannot. And you talk about bread pricing. Ordinarily, if you want to price bread appropriately, what do you think you are going to do? Can the average Nigerian afford it? Even you that is an employer, you look at it. How many times have you increased the salaries of your workers? Yeah. It's a very, very. We are finding ourselves in a very, very bad situation. At the end, you increase bread, Nigerians are shouting bread again. People will take you to increase. They will allow you to increase tomato, increase every other thing. But once you go to bread, because bread is a staple, it's a grab and go. It's something that must be on the table for the children and for the household every day. Once you increase it, there is a hoopla. There is just everybody is shouting bread, 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 and nobody wants to look at the manufacturer. One of the biggest bakeries in Nigeria, I don't want to let out their names.
Okay.
They closed about 2 weeks ago. A big, one of the, when I mean big, multi-billion-dollar investment gone down the drain. I was sleeping at home around 11. The MD called me, you know, because it's a multinational, and told me that, look, President, we are no longer doing. We are tired. And I asked him, I was like taken aback. What's the problem? We are going under. Why? Because the product is not adequately priced and appropriately priced. So it's just killing for us as business.
Okay, in our prior segment, we reported that Rishi Sunak in the UK, the Prime Minister, he's meeting with business leaders. If you were to meet with President-elect Tinubu tomorrow, if he has a meeting, what's number one? Is it FX, or what do you need now?
Yeah, we are going to categorize it. One, FX is key for those people that are importing. Make the environment very benign. Let me give you this. Those millers that bring in the wheat from Ukraine, US, and other places, they pay 30% on wheat import. There's a 15% wheat development levy. They've been paying since the regime of Jonathan. It was supposed to be a stopgap. Started in June 2012.
And it hasn't gone away.
It hasn't gone away. Now, for the federal government, for them, it's a revenue. It's a revenue stream, which is not a good one. You can't you can't generate revenue from everything, you know. Now, it was supposed to be for 2 years or thereabout. After 2 years, the money that they get from it, they use it to do the 15% on the wheat development levy. Then 15% on duty, bringing a cumulative of 30%. Yeah. We've been begging the federal government. We've gone to everywhere. We've begged the federal government, remove that 15% wheat development levy. It has outlived its usefulness. You know, remove it so that you can have some cushion for these people that are bringing in wheat. With that, you can be able to stabilize to a reasonable extent the price of wheat in coming into Nigeria. But, you know, just like flogging a dead horse, nobody listens to anybody.
Wow. We have to, my producer will kill me if I don't ask you this question. Cassava flour as an alternative? Can that be an alternative to wheat flour?
It can never be.
It can't.
Because cassava is rancid. When I mean rancid, if you put it in the mouth, it has a very sour taste. Yeah. It doesn't have gluten. What is gluten? That binding effect that binds the flour. It doesn't have it. So you can do cassava addition, but you can't add more than 10%, because we've done. In December last year, we did some test bake with my association, Firo and all of it. You know, what did we do? You included about 10% cassava. When you get out of that 10%, the bread begins to break. It doesn't have a binding effect, and it becomes rancid. Yeah. And you understand me? As much as there's health benefit to adding cassava to it, but at the end of the day, because not everybody can eat it, there is a particular type of bread we eat in Nigeria. Nigerians, there's a way we like our bread. We are the only country on earth that does white bread, basically, you know. So Nigerians have the way, and if you distort that their taste, you are finished. So yes, cassava can go better, and then if you are saying cassava 10%, can you even grow it in country?
Right, that's another issue. We talked about that last week.
Can you grow it in country? You can't grow it. There's no capacity. The off-takers are there, but can you grow it? No. Even the people that are growing, they want to use it as they want to export and get more dollars to live their life. So
Engineer Emmanuel Onuorah, this has been a very enlightening discussion. I really do. So I ran out of time. There's so much I would have asked you, but thank you for letting us know the issues that bread makers are facing. The president of the Premium Breadmakers Association, thank you so much for joining us.
The road is on a large scale. The new government that is coming should know that this is a very big problem.
Big deal. Yes.
If food insecurity coupled with current insecurity is a recipe for disaster. So the new incoming administration must begin to look, because we begin to hold everybody accountable like we've been doing.
Definitely. Thank you, sir, for joining us.